Have you ever wondered how much of a house your current income could afford? Perhaps a house like this one, or even this one. Well, you don't need to guess anymore. In this video, I will explain how much you would need to earn to rent or purchase a typically priced house in Australia, considering your current income, high interest rates, the ever-increasing property prices and rents, and banking loan regulations. Or, put it another way, what price of a house you could rent or buy with your salary level. The result may be drastically different from what you'd expect. With over 15 years of experience in the real estate industry, I've purchased numerous properties and I'm a landlord myself. With the support of our dedicated loan strategists, we can provide you with the most accurate and up-to-date information through the collective power of our team. At the end of the video, we'll even calculate how much you would need to earn to purchase your dream home one day. Hi there, my name is Alex. Welcome to my channel, where I share information about real estate investment, economic trends, and wealth creation. If you like this video, smash the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to watch new weekly videos. Without further ado, let's get into it. Based on your salary and where you live, the cost difference between renting and buying a house can be massive. Rent is the upper limit of your expense because there are no unexpected outgoings such as Strata Levy, insurance, land tax, etc. But when it comes to owning a house, mortgage repayment is only the minimum you need to pay. There are a lot of other costs, many of which you might have yet to expect. Mortgage payments. In Australia, mortgage payments can be set as interest only or principal and interest, with a typical loan term of 30 years. After 12 consecutive increases, the current mortgage interest rate you'll get from a bank has reached 6.2%. Unlike in the United States, where you can fix the interest rate for 30 years, in Australia, you can only fix that for 1 to 5 years. Number 2, Strata Levy. You must pay a Strata Levy if you purchase an apartment or townhouse. Generally, newer properties have lower levies than older ones. Low-rise apartments have lower fees than high-rise apartments. Properties without amenities such as gyms, swimming pools, etc. have lower fees than those with, and apartments further away from the city center have lower fees than those in the CBD. So you will pay a higher Strata Levy for old, high-rise apartments in the city center with various amenities. For example, a 2-bedroom apartment in a 30-year-old high-rise building in Sydney CBD with a swimming pool, gym, sauna, etc. has a quarterly Strata Levy of around $4,000. A newly built low-rise apartment 20 kilometers away from the city center with no amenities, you can expect to pay about $1,100 Strata Levy a quarter for a 2-bedroom apartment. However, if major repairs are needed, owners may have to contribute to a repair fund called a sinking fund, which is split proportionally among the owners. The cost can be substantial if there are structural or flammable cladding issues. Number 3, insurance. Insurance is pretty straightforward. If you buy an apartment or a townhouse, the Strata Levy already covers various insurance costs. If you purchase a standalone house, you must handle the insurance yourself. For example, home insurance covers unpredictable disasters such as bushfires, floods, lightning, fallen trees damaging the house, hurricanes, etc. The cost varies from a few hundred to a few $1,000s per year, depending on whether the house is in a risky area and the value of the house itself. You can also consider purchasing contents insurance. Number 4, council rate. The next one is council rate, used for upkeep and maintenance of local infrastructure, waste management, etc. The amount homeowners need to pay annually depends on the local council's total annual revenue need and the property's value. Council rate is proportional to the property price. The higher the house price, the higher the rate. You can choose to pay your rates in a lump sum annually or pay in installments quarterly as per the schedule on the bill. The exact cost varies by state and territory. The council rate ranges between $1,000 to $1,500 a year in New South Wales. It's about 0.2% of CIV, the current market price of the land plus building, in Victoria, written on the council rate bill. Water rate is a fixed expense for all homeowners. While the charges vary by state, they're divided into connection and usage charges. The connection fee is about $180 to $250 per quarter. For a standalone house, numerous things need to be maintained. For example, the hot water system requires maintenance every 2 years, swimming pools requires monthly or quarterly maintenance, smoke detectors need annual maintenance, gutters need yearly maintenance, and wooden structures need termite inspection at least once a year. The call-out fee for a plumber or electrician is around $200 to $300, not including the labor cost, which is charged by time, plus parts. With all this in mind, you must set aside at least $1,500 to $2,000 annually. Suppose you're buying a property as an investment. There are even more holding costs, such as land tax surcharge, state vacancy tax, federal vacancy tax, etc. So now you understand why owning a house can be substantially more expensive than renting. Buying a house and renting one are two completely different financial arrangements. So the question remains, how much do you need to earn to afford to rent or buy a typical property in Australia? Let's first tackle the simple question, how much do you need to earn to afford to rent a home? And this brings us to the 30% rule. Assuming you want to maintain a good quality of life and financial health, your rent should not exceed 30% of your pre-tax income. If you earn $60,000 per year before tax, the maximum weekly rent is then $346. If you earn $90,000, it's $519 weekly, and for $150,000 salary, it's $865 rent a week. But this rule existed even before the pandemic. In a world where rents have significantly increased post-pandemic, should we expect our salaries to rise 20% to 40% just like our rents? And here is where the 50-30-20 rule comes in handy. For further insights, check out the book Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan by Elizabeth Warren, which thoroughly explains the rule. When budgeting, you can refer to this rule. 50% of your income should cover your essential expenses such as rent or mortgage payments, transportation, utilities, phone bills, and basic needs of life. 30% can be spent on non-essential items like trendy clothing, handbags, accessories, concert tickets, and travel. These things make life more enjoyable but aren't absolutely necessary for survival. The remaining 20% should be saved by establishing an emergency fund, making financial investments, or accumulating a deposit on a house. With these calculations, even though you will have some savings, the money that can be spent on housing might be less than 30%. For those living in Australia, it's undoubtedly a challenge. After the pandemic, Australia opened its borders, leading to a large influx of immigrants and international students. Rents have drastically increased. To rent a one-bedroom apartment without parking in Sydney CBD, you may need to spend between $800 to $1,000 per week. Based on the 30% rule and a weekly rent of $800, a tenant should earn at least $150,000 per year. But how many people really make that much? There is another budgeting method. Start with your after-tax income, subtract fixed expenses, deduct 15% to 20% for savings, and then the non-essential expenditures. Whatever remains is the rent or mortgage payment that you can afford. At least this method prioritizes saving, contributing to a healthier financial status. Well, of course, everyone's spending preferences differ. Some might spend 50% of their income on rent, while others only 35%. There are also many ways to relieve the rent pressure, such as sharing a place with classmates or colleagues, or splitting the rent with a partner. Finding rental properties in good locations is hard, so alternative solutions can be explored. For example, students can consider living with Australian families, homestay, and young professionals might have to live with their parents for a while, waiting out the tough times. So how much do you need to earn to afford a house? Buying a home is more complex than renting. The first rule to consider is the 30% rule, stating that no more than 30% of your pre-tax salary should go towards paying your mortgage and the cost of maintaining the property, such as Strata Levy, insurance, and taxes if you want to live a normal life without too much financial pressure. For example, if you earn $8,000 per month, you can spend a maximum of $2,400 on housing. But after deducting the monthly costs of around $500, you're left with $1,900 for your monthly mortgage payments. And this means you can only afford to own a property with $388,750. You might forget about finding anything at that price in Sydney or Melbourne. Only in remote Queensland or Darwin might you find something like that. Assuming a loan of 80% with principal and an interest repayment over 30 years at 6.2% interest rate. To purchase a $500,000 property, the monthly payment would be $2,450. Adding monthly house costs of $500 and applying the 30% rule, you would need an annual income of $118,000 to afford it. To buy a 1 million property, you would need an annual income of $224,000. For a 2 million property, an annual income of $428,000 would be required. Under the current market conditions, to purchase a house in Sydney or Melbourne that you like without feeling financially stressed, you would need to earn quite a bit. The second 30% rule suggests that when buying a house, put 20% in cash as a deposit and keep 10% of the property value in cash as a reserve. A 20% deposit is our recommended ratio. If the ratio is higher, it is not an effective use of cash and leverage to generate investment returns, and it's more challenging to access the equity in the house. If the deposit is less than 20%, you will have to pay for lender's mortgage insurance, LMI, which can range from a few thousand to 10 to 20,000. More importantly, if you have to sell the house when prices fall, you might end up owing the bank money after selling. For example, with a $1 million property and $50,000 deposit, if the market enters a downturn just after you buy, and you urgently need money and can't afford the mortgage payment, you might have to sell the house. However, the house's price may have dropped to $930,000. You could end up in debt after paying the real estate agent fees and other expenses. With a 20% deposit and a 10% cash reserve, you can hold on to the property for a longer period of time, benefiting from the compounding wealth effect and avoiding losses when the market is unfavorable. We've discussed how much we should spend when buying a house based on our budgeting methods. However, another aspect to consider is how much the bank is willing to lend you. The sum of the bank's mortgage and your cash usually defines the upper limit of your house purchase price. Don't worry, even with the current interest rate rise and the bank's tightening loan policy, you can afford more of a house than when you follow the 30% rule, so the situation might be better than it seems. Determining how much to lend you is quite simple from the bank's perspective. They only consider three things: income, expenses, and liabilities. Income is straightforward and refers to your pre-tax salary. Expenses refer to your monthly outgoings, which include necessities like food, clothing, and entertainment. Banks usually estimate monthly expenses between $1,800 and $1,900 for a single person. Of course, this number can be adjusted, and all mortgage brokers know how. Liabilities include credit card debt, consumer loans, buy now pay later purchases, student loans, car loans, etc. Once all these factors are considered, you get your loan limit. Let's give a simple example. A single person who earns a salary only wants to buy a house to live in, with an annual salary of $100,000 and after-tax income of $75,000. After subtracting the bank's estimated personal expenses of $1,800 per month, which totals $21,600 per year, you're left with $53,400 or $4,450 per month. Considering the current interest rate of 6.2%, a loan of 30 years, and 80% LVR, you can get a $720,000 loan to buy a $900,000 property. But the actual situation is a bit worse. When the bank calculates your repayment amount, they add an extra 3%, calculating your monthly principal and interest repayments using a 9.2% interest rate. This adjustment means you could only borrow about $550,000. In the actual loan application, you'd probably get around 10% less and get $500,000 in the end, allowing you to buy a $625,000 property. Mortgage brokers who worked in the industry for years prefer to use a multiplier to estimate the loan amount. It is very simple. Multiply your pre-tax annual income by 4.5 to 5 to get your loan amount. If you earn $60,000 pre-tax salary, the loan limit should be between $270,000 and $300,000. But as interest rate rises and the bank loan policies tighten, this multiplier will become smaller. The above example is an oversimplified scenario. Some factors can increase your loan capacity, while others will reduce it. I have put together a table. You're more than welcome to take a screenshot and study it in detail. So what would I do? First, to consider to rent or buy, my criteria is different from others. I look at overall efficiency. If renting is more expensive, but it is closer to my workplace, allowing me more time to learn and improve, and giving me time for entrepreneurial activities and generate high value, I would choose to rent. Then, with the money I have, I would buy an investment property where housing prices are still low. Since I'm not living there, it doesn't matter where it is as long as the investment return is high. I would probably choose to buy if I can afford both renting and buying. The financial burden might be heavier after purchasing a house. Still, if a property is well selected, the house price appreciation is higher than the cost difference between renting and buying, and most importantly, if I think the house will do well in the next 10 years, I will definitely buy. Australian residential real estate's price appreciation is almost guaranteed, as long as you choose the right type of property, area, and timing to buy and sell. My advice is not to exceed your affordability too much when buying a house, such as a 95% loan. This could not only cause a great deal of life stress, but with any slight misstep, you may be unable to repay the loan and end up having the house taken away by the bank. Meanwhile, don't be afraid to do some minor cosmetic work on loan applications. As long as the house is suitable for living, has potential for value appreciation, and your cash flow can support the house's expenses for a long time, you can buy beyond your loan capacity. Thirdly, if you work hard, are entrepreneurial, manage your finances well, save more money, and do your homework before buying a house, you can definitely buy a property that suits you. Taking a few more steps is fine if you can't achieve your goal in one step. Finally, do you remember the question we mentioned at the beginning of this video? How much do you need to earn to afford a house worth $50 million? According to the 80% loan and the 5 times rule, you need to earn $8 million a year to have enough repayment ability. However, in reality, those who buy properties at this price point usually pay in cash. The chances of purchasing this house are smaller than winning at a casino or hitting the lottery. Special thanks to Amy, the senior mortgage strategist from our team, for great assistance in this episode. With that being said, please follow me on social media at RealCoachAlex. Smash the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to receive new weekly videos. Hope to see you soon. Have a good one. Bye.